Hi everyone, thanks for joining our webinar on the PTP 670. With me I have our product manager for this line, Sagar Deshpande, and he will be giving you the presentation. If you, excuse me, if you have any questions, as always, type them into the text box on the right, and we will get to them throughout the presentation as well as a Q&A at the end. So without further ado, here's Sagar.
Hi, Colin. Thank you very much for the introduction. So today we're going to review the PTP 670, our latest product in our point-to-point portfolio. So for today's agenda, we're going to cover a quick overview of our PTP portfolio. We're going to go a little bit in detail for the PTP introduction, talk about some of its features and highlights. In particular, we're going to focus on HCMP and OTAR, that's over-the-air rekeying. These are the two main features that have been introduced in the 670. Next, we're going to compare the 670 versus the 650 and what differences there are. We're going to talk about the high-level benefits of the PTP 670. We're going to give more information on the product launch and the strategy and provide more access to more information after the call. So to do a quick overview of PTP portfolio, right now we have 4 products in our sub 6 gigahertz solution, the PTP 450, the PTP 450i, the PTP 650, which comes in 3 flavors, the 650, the 650S, and the 650L, and our latest product, the PTP 670. This also comes in 2 variants, the connectorized version and the integrated version. So there are many markets in which the PTP 670 serves. The first one being the industrial and energy service providers, public safety, utilities, and private networks. We're going to go into a little bit detail for each one of them. The first one is the WISP market. So this is mainly for like last mile access, disaster preparation when resilient networks, 2G, 3G, 4G, small cell backhaul. It also is used for Wi-Fi offloading, and it provides a backhaul for temporary deployments as well. Second one is the government, where it can be used for video surveillance and extension. It can be used for emergency preparedness and disaster recovery. It can be used as fiber extensions for government buildings, and it also can be used for network redundancy in case of other stuff. Another application is the public safety, where it can be used for video surveillance and backhaul, on-scene video monitoring, disaster preparedness and recovery, as well as land mobile radio backhaul. Another important area is the oil and gas industry. So this can be used for offshore to onshore and onshore to offshore communication. It's really useful for long distance backhaul, even in extremely hostile conditions, and video surveillance of assets protection and personnel safety while working under such difficult conditions. Utilities is also one of the areas in which PTP 670 can be useful, from connecting remotely rural networks to wireline replacement and extension, to increase backbone capacity, also for video surveillance, backhaul, and extension. So this is the PTP 670. It comes in 2 flavors, as I mentioned earlier, the PTP 670 integrated and the PTP 670 connectorized. The radio itself works from the band 4.9 gigahertz to 6.05 gigahertz. To talk a little bit more about the feature set we have here. So the frequency band that it operates is 4.9 to 6.05 gigahertz. The channel bandwidth that it supports is 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, and 45 megahertz. And it has a bits per hertz capacity of 10 bits per hertz spectral efficiency. It has a physical interface of 2x2 MIMO and OFDMA. It has a gig Ethernet interface. It has a SFP. It has adaptive modulation of BPSK to 256 QAM. It has an aggregate capacity of up to 450 Mbps and a processing power for 900K packets per second. The power output at BPSK is 27 dBm, and at 256 QAM is 23 dBm. The integrated version comes with the integrated version already has an antenna built into it, and the gain that it has is 23 dBi. The latency is around 1 to 3 milliseconds in one way. It has a metal housing of IP6667, and it does support jumbo frame. Some of the main highlights of the PTP 670 is that it supports both PTP, that's point-to-point, and and HCMP, which is high-capacity multi-point, which we will get to in the next few slides. It also supports DSO, which is similar to the PTP 650. That DSO basically enables to continuously scan the channels for low interference channels and just keep track of them. IOFDM is also a similar feature where it transmits over 1024 subcarriers, resulting in high resilience and resilience to multipath interference. It also supports non-line of sight applications, and it has SYNCI and IEEE 1588 timer. So the PTP 670 has really good performance with respect to throughput, 450 Mbps, really good spectral efficiency of 10 bits per hertz, really high packets per second, capacity of more than 900K, high link budget. It has a wide channel bandwidth of 45 megahertz, adaptive or almost hitless model. It is a hitless modulation adaptive change. It has a low one-way low latency of close to 1 to 3 milliseconds. It has a dynamic uplink and downlink ratio. It supports non-line of sight and near line of sight, and the modulation scheme goes up to 256 QAM. This is the channel flexibility size, and this is the aggregate throughput that you get. The PTP 670 is highly reliable because it has a IP66-67 metal housing. The temperature it supports is minus 40 degrees to plus 60 degrees. It has spatial diversity built into it. It also has split frequency operations where you can use one frequency for TX and the other for RX. It has TDD sync, and it operates in a wideband operation of 4.9 to 6.05, and it has DSO built into it. So DSO mainly is a feature that the 670 has, which basically automatically changes the channel to avoid interference without dropping the link. So say you're on a particular band and then for some reason there is a lot of interference on that channel. So what DSO helps the radio to do is move the remote and the master nodes to a different channel, and then it continues to transmit without dropping the link itself. So this would be a good example to kind of illustrate the high level. So here you can see between the 5.7 to 5.8, there's a lot of interference that is happening. If our radio is on that spectrum, it has the capability of moving it to some other spectrum which has very less interference. So the non-line of sight, so for line of sight, the PTP 670 can easily go up to 155 miles. For near line of sight, based on the Fresnel zone, it can go up to 25 miles. And for non-line of sight, it can go up to 6 miles. So the uplink downlink symmetric ratio basically means how much duration do you want to spend for uplink data versus downlink data. We support adaptive modulation as well as in symmetry. We have different versions of it. So we have flavors such as 1:1, which is equal distribution of throughput for uplink and downlink, 2:1 and 1:2 based on the uplink downlink ratio, 3:1 and 1:3, as well as 5:1 and 1:5. PTP 670 has a lot of security built into it. It has 128-bit AES encryption, 256-bit AES encryption. It has multi-level user authentication. It has radius authentication. It has out-of-band management. It has remote password maintenance as a part of it. So now I'm going to focus on two main feature sets that sets the 670 apart. One is the HCMP. So what is HCMP and how does it work? So HCMP stands for high capacity multipoint. Say for a given example, you want to connect using PTP, you want to connect 4 links, and each end of a link is connected to it's a cluster of 4 cameras. So instead of having 4 different links connected on almost back to back, you can have one HCMP master that connects to 4 nodes. By doing it this way, you're using 37% fewer radios. You're using less tower load. You're using less power because you're just using one master HCMP. You're using fewer antennas, and it's simplified alignment because it auto aligns.
Sagar, I have a question coming. Will the 670 support PTP sync with co-located PTP 700?
The PTP 700 is different from a PTP 670. So
Okay.
yeah, it's different in that sense.
So it won't connect to them?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so this would be a typical deployment of a PTP 670. So in the red links, we can see the PTP 670 HCMP that connects to three on the ground cameras that are connected to it. So this would be our typical deployment for it for building to building or building to street or from street to street as well. So in this scenario, you have three cameras that are connected to it, and then maybe there's a line that goes to the back of the building, and then you have a long distance PTP link set up towards the end. So what is OTAR? So OTAR mainly stands for over the air rekeying. So what does it mean? The secret key that is used to encrypt over the air data is automatically generated, negotiated, and seamlessly applied at pre-configured intervals without user intervention. So basically, manually you don't need to change the secret keys over a period of time. This is done automatically and it's generated automatically. So what are some of the advantages? So there's no need for user intervention. This automatically does it for you. Simplified and streamlined operation while virtually eliminating risk of compromise. Fulfill corporate equipment for regular key updates. So this takes care of it itself. So what is one of its main benefits? It saves man hours in terms of manually updating the network with the latest security patch, as well as helps customers that have been affected by the latest cyber attacks. So let's compare the PTP 670 versus the PTP 650. So in terms of radio performance, the PTP 670 is similar to the PTP 650. With respect to price, the PTP 670 is similar to the PTP 650 for those variations. The PTP 670 integrated antenna is 12-inch by 12-inch, whereas the PTP 650 antenna was 14-inch by 14-inch. These are integrated versions, but we have managed to keep the gain at the same as at 23 dBi. The PTP 670 supports HCMP, whereas 650 does not. The PTP 670 comes with full capacity by default, whereas the PTP 650 you have to buy an extra license key for it. The PTP 670 just comes in two hardware variations, the connectorized and integrated, whereas the 650 would come in the 650 connectorized integrated, 650S connectorized integrated, and the 650L. We have new mounting brackets that have been slightly changed from the previous one. These are much more secure and robust. So what are some of the main benefits of the PTP 670? One definitely is faster perform. We have a much faster processor with more memory. So in the roadmap, we are definitely going to see more exciting features. Second, it is HCMP compatible, which has a high spectral efficiency of around 9 bits per hertz. So this is definitely going to be an advantage, and it can connect up to 8 remote nodes in the mock-up. In the diagram, I had shown 3, but you can easily connect up to 8. It does support OTAR, which helps in the security aspect of it. It has a simplified licensing structure where you don't need to buy or have a license key to make it full capacity, and it is backward compatible with the PTP 650. We'll get into it. We'll get into a little bit more of the PTP backward compatibility in the next slide. So to highlight, the pricing is the same. It's the same hardware pricing as the PTP 650 for each of those variants. There is no licensing fee for the full capacity key. So with the compatibility with the 650, the PTP 670 will be backward compatible with the PTP 650 through a special release version firmware. This special release firmware is going to be scheduled around Q4 of 2017, and all PTP 650 accessories are compatible with the PTP 670 accessories. So we have plans to announce our public launch and shipping date for the PTP 670 is tomorrow, June the 21st, 2017. We are ready to take orders also from tomorrow. And if you want more information, please contact cambiumnetworks.com for further information, either our sales people or people on community. So for more information, definitely visit our website, cambiumnetworks.com/product/backhaul, where we have much more information regarding the spec and other aspects of the PTP 670. And also please check out our forum, where we definitely keep updating with knowledge base with respect to the 670 and have more information out there as we do it. Thank you very much. Now we will get to some of the questions. Okay. Let's see. So to use, okay, so there's a question. To use 256 AES key, need a license or is it in the, so you would definitely need a license to use a 256 AES key. So is DSO available in HCMP? So there's a question called, is DSO available with the HCMP as well? So the DSO.
I guess it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. How does the HCMP bandwidth get divided, or is it fully bandwidth time shared? Okay, the way HCMP bandwidth gets divided is between multiple users, and it could be configured to be divided equally or unequally as well, asymmetric as well. So the price compare, is it for PTP 670 full capacity or light? So it is for the PTP 670. So it's the price for the PTP 650. The PTP 670 price is the same radio price as the PTP 670. So the license key aspect of it is different. So to answer the question, so the PTP 650 that it comes in, initially with it that it comes in, that is the same price as 670. So your answer would be light. The light version of it would be the same price. Will it still work? Will it be MSRP? Will the 670 have backward compatibility with the 650 with 650 in HCMP? Okay, so when the 670 works as a 650, you will not have the capability of using HCMP applications. Yes, so so there's a question, is there a cost associated with using the radio in a PMP or HCMP mode in terms of option keys? Yes, you will need to buy a HCMP license key for you to access the master node in the diagram to be used to be used in HCMP mode. You don't need it for the remote nodes. So there's a question, can the PTP 670 act as a base station and the 650 radio acts as a client? So if you're talking in HCMP mode, it will not work in that sense. But if you want to connect the 670 with a 650, you have to use the special firmware that converts the 670 to a 650 to accommodate your network as overall. For the HCMP, what is the maximum degree on the node? So I think you're talking about the beam width that it supports. I think it's 90 degrees. Is there a cost for the HCMP? Yes, there is a cost. There is a license key for the HCM to enable a PTP 670 to work as a HCMP master. Will the PTP 670 support higher modulation in the future releases? Right now, we are more focused on the PTP 670. We will let you know if there is a roadmap which involves increasing the modulation even further than what we already have. So there's a question, does it require any firmware upgrades on the PTP 650 side? I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the question. So I think what it means, so you can't use, so you can only make the 670 work as a 650, but it's not forward compatible, which means you can't make a 650 into a 670. So there's a question, can existing PTP 650 radios be used in a HCMP with the PTP 670? You cannot. Is HCMP best effort only? No, definitely not. It's allocation of time space that we use for transmitting data. As if I go back to the slide for the HCMP. So this, as you can see over here, we are time sharing between all the 4 nodes. So the throughput capacity gets split up into 4 or 5 or 8, up to 8 nodes, and then the time it takes gets divided equally or asymmetrically in that case.
And for the person who showed up late, this presentation will be, or is being recorded and will be posted on our community forum. So you can rewatch it there. And we're also going to try and get the slide deck in a PDF form and post it in the same spot as well.
So there's a question, please clarify. Rephrasing. So there's a question. So will the PTP 650 power work with the PTP 670? Yes. So if you're talking about the AC-DC adapter or the AC adapter that or the power injector, yes, all the accessories are similar that work on the 650 will work on the 670. So the question is, will there be a license for AES key or will it come by default? So you have to buy the AES like 128 license key separately. It does not come with the by default. There's a question, what is the beam width of the integrated antenna? It's 8 degrees. How many Ethernet ports are available on the radio? So there's 2. One is the PoE. So there's 2 Ethernet ports and 1 SFP port. So the 2 Ethernet ports, one is the main power over Ethernet, and the second one is an auxiliary port that we can use for cameras as well as wireless APs. And the third one is SFP port. What is the lead time on the product? Typically, we're expecting 3 to 4 weeks. So the question is, can we expect higher throughput available in future, perhaps via firmware updates? Yes, we are working towards increasing the throughput capacity. So we're definitely trying to improve the performance through each firmware. So there's another, so the question is, please clarify on MSRP's difference between the PTP 650 Lite. So the price of the PTP 650 as a radio itself is the same price as a PTP 670, right? So when you buy a 650 with the upgrade key, you're going to buy the MSRP price plus the license key price for that. So what we have done in this is basically given away. So the MSRP price of the radio in the default mode is the same as the difference between PTP 650 and the 670. Only the license price that is built into the full capacity key is by default built into the 670, so you don't have to pay extra for it, but the MSRP between the 2 radios is exactly the same. I hope that answers the question. Right, so so basically, since the full capacity is already built in, the price will be 0. So the question is, will the PTP 670 support larger channel sizes? We are working towards it, but we don't have a definite answer for that.
All right. Well, that's actually all the time we have today. So if you have any questions, definitely redirect them to the forum about the 670. You will see where we'll post a webinar. That would be a good place to ask, or as well as just in the general forum for it. And you will get responses from either Sagar or other engineers that worked on the PTP 670 as well, so that should help clarify things. Excuse me. So the user guide will come out this week with more info as well. So just stay tuned. So with that being said, thank you for the presentation, Sagar. And thank you everyone for all of your great questions, and thank you for your time today. Look forward to seeing you on the community.